idea what I'm going to be saying today. Oh, we're recording.
That's okay.
Mel,
Yeah.
you've had a busy day.
Yes, I have. I think a lot of people just kind of hit a wall, and people are looking to regroup, reconnect, refocus. And that's basically where I've been so far today, is kind of, just redoubling the internal energy and positivity, because I lost it for a couple of days just because, we're in a spiritual battle. We're fighting right now for good versus evil and light versus dark. And you and I are on the front lines for real, put ourselves out there in every way. And the battle is a battle, and it gets rough. And I've been thinking of George Washington, how they mentioned going across the Delaware in the ice to win the battle. And that's what I feel like where we are, all because it's icy and it's hard, but we have no choice. We've come this far. We're not going to abandon ship when, we're so close to, I believe, the beginning of the true awakening. So much has happened this week. And you and I are finally getting together because I had to postpone. And now it's like every day that goes by, it's so much more stuff.
Every day something's happening, Mel. And I like the fact that you said that you're having to regroup, redo, rethink. We've entered a Mercury retrograde, and that happened on the 1st of Feb or the 31st. Forgive me if I've got those dates wrong. And
That's
Mercury, Mercury represents communication, and it's a retrograde is where we're having to it's the retro, the in the name. So the fact that you're saying we're having to do the regrouping, rethinking, and we revisit, we don't do anything new. So with Mercury representing Bud, the planets of communication, a lot of things are going a bit haywire. So this is a great time for us to really go inward. And my own personal journey last week, after a full moon, a lot of people felt pretty much a full moon hangover. And there's so many people that I know had a lot of problems with their hearts, my mum included, which I wasn't really going to say on the show. But when I realized so many people were saying that they had the same thing, we're ascending. So it's almost like an altitude sickness, Mel.
Right.
And while I don't encompass myself with the details of everything so acutely, because I will go where my energy's going, so I cannot handle watching so many things. So it's almost like a download. So I was just listening to you and Rob, and I was like, right now when I needed to, because it was a catch up with what I needed to know and realize, because Rob said some really good things, which we'll discuss a bit later. When I realized that, oh, wow, you offer so much to the Truth community with your thorough research. I'm a little bit of, like one of those Care Bears. Yeah. I'm just like wanting to kind of keep everyone grounded and do my little 2 pence worth, whatever I can, even though subject to criticism and stuff from loved ones and close ones.
I know, me too.
More acutely.
We have each other for that.
You said something really important that we are getting to the end, and we have to kind of continue and realize that the fact that this is a spiritual war. So when you can apply that, so you give me the sort of the thorough analysis of what's been going on factually, you remember people's names, and I'm like, wow. And then afterwards I was like, who was that she said? But I love it. I love that energy. And what I can bring to the table is to sort of keep people enthused, not despondent, and definitely centered into what we believe in every marrow of our bone is going to be a good ending. And if not, we're all screwed, really.
Right.
Yeah. And I want to think that way,
Right. And that's why I pick what I choose to talk about, to be because a lot of people want it to happen the way they want it to happen. They want these arrests, they want this and that. And I try to point out things that are happening that may not seem to be part of it, but I believe that they are. I don't know if you heard, I think I sent it to you, that the Standard Hotel announced yesterday they're closing forever. Yeah. This to me is a sign, okay, because what we've watched over the last week was we watched these executive orders that were going to hurt America's economy, hurt our security, hurt our safety, hurt our farm industry, hurt every aspect of our life, and then turn us, me, and any truth people in America into domestic terrorists under their rules. But that was a wake-up call to people that did vote for this. And then the next thing was then we're finding out. So now they're all opening up right after the inauguration. Now everyone's opening up. Then they just tell you that hydrochloroquine works, the AMA, Facebook, all these people that got banned for saying that. Then, so that's kind of coming out. And then what happened on Wall Street, as I've been talking about for a very long time. And I thought it was interesting because on the board, it always said, do you want to play a game or game theory or game over? And then this happened to be game stop. And what
the irony of the name, irony of the name.
Right. And this is a whole nother realm of people that aren't necessarily, of the same thinking of us getting a red pill that, no, you can't participate unless you participate through us our way, because what they did was not illegal. It was totally not. And yet they interfered and stopped the peasants, from playing the same game they play in such a broad way. It's just like with the cheating in the election. They didn't just cheat. They did it so big that it red pills enough people. And what happened on Wall Street, how I think all roads will lead back to the Fed and all roads will lead back to the Bank of International Settlements. But they also, all roads at Wall Street are connected to the same cabal.
Yeah.
And people have been so fed so many lies. So I feel like just all these things going on, one after another, are really getting the momentum going for what we need to push us over to the next level. And I feel like we're heading straight there right now.
It's absolutely brilliant, Mel. And when I became red pilled, or when I woke up to this back in March, and then April, I saw this chat with Mark Devlin and Charlie Freak, and it was brilliant because it gave a synopsis of how all of this is going to pan out. And it's true to what he said in that. Now, I encourage people to watch that, because if we go back to that sort of time, everything has been done. The head of the Hydra was cut in 2015, the end of 2015, going into 2016. And I remember really embracing myself in this storyline that was narrated by Charlie Freak at the time. And then it took me down this rabbit hole to inquire about, who's what and how everything works, and connecting all these pieces together. And it's all been done. How this play, or how this pantomime, or how this movie is going to play out is for us to decipher. So everybody has capitulated to Trump. Trump effectively is the Don of the world. And we knew this from the beginning. Now, what's happening is people are falling off. People are in the truth community as well, are becoming despondent and having a little bit of an air of pessimism, like, oh, what's happening, with this whole stuff with the GameStop. I just smile at these things. I'm thinking, exposure at every single level. So this is, you can't tell people, you have to show them. How are we going to do that? How clever and meticulous has this plan been to expose corruption in every single, the echelon of every establishment, in every single, like the DOJ, the FBI, the CIA, MI6 here in the UK, what's going on at government levels, in every single way. And of course, the link to pedophilia. Is there any coincidence that in the last 1 year that we are hearing in social media a lot of this stuff? Have we all gone mad for just no reason? And people are not being able to piece that together, Mel. And this, for me, before we sort of go on to one of the things I want to talk about, which is the stock market, because I loved the chat that you did with Charlie Ward. That was the first one I watched with you. Yeah. Brilliant. That red pilled me about the stock market. It was brilliant. But everything that we are seeing here right now has been done, and we need to have those lenses of certainty that this is playing out for the greater good. And if we believe that it's a spiritual war, and that God has won, the light has won, if you don't align with this movement or that movement, align with this.
It's not about that. It's not about that.
Yeah.
And I also feel that the world is awakening. The truth is that all of our governments turned on us. Every government that has a central bank is involved in the same crime against their people. And right now they're picking sides. Are they going to, continue to expose themselves? Or are they going to, liberate themselves? And most are not going to liberate themselves. They're going to go down with the cabal, and that's just fine with me. But I think that the true situation right now that we're dealing with is that's what they want. They want us to be to back down. And I'm watching some people, you know, luckily we're in a crew that if anyone gets down or whatever, we can reach out to each other and we know that we'll pick each other back up. Not everyone has that, obviously. And that's what I feel like as tired, and, you know, I fell, which is weird. And then I was like out of the loop, and then I was like, what is going on? You know, looking for, and I just realized, like, we're in a group of people that have really sacrificed in different ways, be it our businesses, family, relationships,
jobs,
whatever,
everything,
to keep going. And we're warriors. We've fought this hard, this long. And now's the time that honestly, people are starting to look at you in the street that thought you were nuts, you know, or whatever, and be like, let me ask you about this. I'm getting more and more of people wanting to say, well, what do you think happened? Or where before it was like, oh my God, you're out of your mind. Now it's becoming, or even people that I don't know or I meet, and that I'm getting more bold in saying, this is what I think in public to anyone. And then I'm starting to get back oh my God, thank God you think that too.
Good.
Because part of the mask, social distancing, isolation has been part of their grander plan towards the Great Reset and the Agenda 2030, so that we didn't interact with each other.
Yeah.
We didn't talk to each other. We didn't question things outside of our vacuum at our home and whatever we're watching on TV. And not everyone has found us yet, and other people like us out there. Yeah. So they just don't say it out loud out of fear or being ridiculed or whatever it is. It's not what the TV's saying. So I'm starting to feel more and more people be like, you know, open to hearing what you think. And then once you say it, they're like, oh, thank God. Me too. And I think that's been the biggest problem, is the lack of freely communicating ideas amongst men, which is why we're here. And what they've stolen from us, and we've created ourselves, and will continue to create and grow our audiences in our communities. But that's really what's really lacking, I think, on the largest scale, is the interaction of thoughts and ideas, and a common dialogue that was totally normal a year ago. You know, this has been,
they're taking it all away from us.
Right.
It was the agenda anyway, and that's, to a certain degree, everything that's happening, I look at this in the positive way, because it's forced us to go inside. It's forced us to question, even if they're on the other side and actually thinking that we're crazy. It's not. Somewhere along in their inner psyche, they'll be thinking something's not right here. This is bizarre, and this is crazy. This narrative is absolutely crazy. And what's been going on with wearing the 3 masks and the anal swabs? I mean, that should really get people to.
I mean, It can't be. Also, these executive orders that Biden's done, one after another, they're literally hurting our country, and nobody's consenting to this. We do have a Declaration of Independence.
That is being done to wake up.
Right. That's there's no other explanation.
Yeah.
And they're crazy. They don't make any sense. They're dangerous. They're not what the people want at all. And like I read in my last show, I read the Declaration of Independence part where Jefferson wrote about when the government has become despotic and has stopped working for the people and has stopped what their job is, which is protecting the individual and the individual's property and safety. And once they're not doing that anymore, they're of no use. We already know the DC is bankrupt and they're a rogue foreign entity on our soil, but the masses don't. The masses don't, but this is a major red pill, and they're coming at us fast. Yeah. So, you know, the momentum's coming for people. I think another giant red pill, our Congress, not only are they calling 80 million people in America potential domestic terrorists, but they also are doing this COVID relief bill. That again, after the American people were up in arms saying that they didn't want $700 billion sent overseas, they're going to just send over $900 billion, you know, with this new bill that they put in. And then, you know, with that GameStop, these people, they played their own game against them. And guess what happened? Now today, MSNBC and stuff, they're calling them domestic terrorists. well, who is a domestic terrorist then? You know, it's just becoming so irrational and crazy.
But is it not
And
just the irrationalness, this irrational behavior is there to flag up the nonsense that all this stuff that's happening to the masses, to wake them up to these irregularities, this one rule for them and one rule for us? Surely people are going to start questioning, and that's what's happening with you. You see, we've been hit. We have absolutely been attacked and hijacked in every way, Mel, that through predictive programming and the frequency of everything we eat, we see, we hear. And they are now literally, it's all been messed up. And suddenly everyone's like, we don't know what to do. And then there's a group of people, which is apparently 144,000 people. Mark and I were speaking about this. He said, it's 144,000 clusters of people around the world. But if you put it in ratio and in perspective to how many people are on Earth, 7-8 billion people on our planet, and then we've got 144,000 people awake. I was like, no pressure on us, really, no pressure. There's not that many people in comparison. So this is where we're having this issue. However, we need to keep strong and centered, because these things are going to happen. And with the advent of stuff last week, you had similar stuff. You were feeling a little bit off kilter. So was I. And it's happening. This is cyclical. And these periods, going to have these peaks, troughs, and we're going to go in these kind of like emotional roller coasters. But it's so important that whether you do a show, it's not all about doing a show. I had someone go into me today saying, oh, you're not going to be talking about Save the Kids all day, and you lot are just insignificant in this truth of community, and it's just about relevance.
Not even close.
I'm like, I don't see myself doing this all the time, but right now, this time is instrumental for humanity. And we need to step up. So we're doing that. And yes, we're going to be subject to all this barrage. I get that. We get it. You get it. We just recuperate. Yeah. And we offer our bits. So this is constructs of the cabal, Mel. We become so used to criticizing and the condemnation of people for every little trivial thing, rather than actually empowering and encouraging people to say, you know what, that was brilliant. I got something out of that. And guess what? We have a choice. We have a button. We can just, I don't want to watch you. I don't. But no, this whole sort of camaraderie happens on the social media fraternity, and people start going, it's immature and we need to change. That's when people asked me the other day and said, Alpa, what do you mean by going inside? And I say this assertively, but from a place of love. And I say, that when we, it's two things. What is our intention? Yeah. And what is our perception on something? So I look forward to seeing you and speaking to you.
I know.
You offer me something that, I don't get. That when I speak to you, it's like the penny dropped. And then afterwards, I know that I'm not a researcher. I'm not someone that has practiced journalism or anything like that. So I know my merit and what I can do. You offer so much to us, right? And it's brilliant. So people will know what Mel offers. They know they love our duo.
I know, I love it too.
Really,
but it's also like we're really friends on a spiritual level and an emotional level. We have so much in common in our likes, in our history, and what we both love the creative arts and all the things. We've had similar paths, but it's also the spiritual connection that we have together. I think also it radiates off to people watching it, because it's genuine, and people are starving right now for people miss their friends, they miss their communities, they miss the interaction, and I think our interaction is very universal, and it's all about love and respect and support. And I think that it permeates, and it's really important, because so many people are alone. And in our I bet you, my thinking is that there's a lot more people that are awake that just are too scared to say it, and that do their own research and all that, and they have nobody to share it with. And if you don't seek it out, they shadow ban us. I was kicked off Twitter. I don't really do much of this on Facebook. It's not worth it with my people. I don't need to hear it. And but our shows and everything, and being out there, you know, it's just we're helping a lot of people that have nobody else, but also would never probably speak about it with the people in their own lives.
And I'm glad you
Uh,
mentioned that, because I'm sure you get like loads of people writing into you saying, Mel, that, thank you, you've literally saved my life. Like I mean, I've had people who've written into me saying that my husband thinks I'm crazy. I'm feeling
me too.
suicidal. Now, when we embarked on this journey, just to speak up and saying, hang on a minute, this is not right. These atrocities are not right. And then from whatever knowledge that we could impart, like from deciphering information, doing our research, speaking to people, forming a community. I didn't get a manual about this.
No.
You and I were crazy and just on and on and on. But we didn't. It's taken us this long just to set up a channel. Whatever happens, I just realized it's human nature at the moment to condemn, criticize, sometimes see things in a negative lens, and it's okay. You take constructive criticism. I get all of that, and I can take it. Yeah.
Right.
Don't hurt people.
Right.
That's the thing.
Well, that's what I don't understand, because our Telegram channel, the Mel K Show, was doing great. And every once in a while, there's somebody on there that is like just a troll and mean and ugly. And I just think, this is not what I'm putting out there. Why are you at my channel? Or I'll get like a bitch shoot, like it'll be so nice, and then it'll be so mean. And I'll just be like, because here's the thing about mean. I've always said this: mean is a choice. Mean is a choice.
Absolutely.
And it's never, you can be like rude or whatever. Mean is a whole different thing. And I don't, and that's the biggest lesson through all of this, is having learned that that mean is unacceptable, and I'm just not going to tolerate it. And I've gotten a lot thicker of a skin over this experience, because I had an internal situation with somebody that's in the truth community, and then something else. And I really had never seen this level of mean. But all I can say is, the mean is theirs. And when I see these people, why are you on my channel? Everyone seems so good. We're sharing. All I have left now is the Telegram. And,
is your Facebook?
What?
You've got your Facebook, right? But you just leave.
Yeah, but I only use that really. I don't really use that for this stuff, because I have so many people on there that I really don't want to hear their opinion. I really don't care what they have to say. So I go on and I just look at your posts and Mark and other people I care about. Then I pop off. But it's just it's interesting, the strength though that I didn't know I had to keep going.
You do have that, and that absolutely taking the words out of, we're all saying very similar things and going through similar cycles. We were meant to do this in whatever way. I mean,
absolutely.
I say this time and time again, my guardian angels are in rehab at the moment, right? Because they're like, oh my God, she's just crazy. But look, you come in heart-centered and do whatever you do. Right. Have a disclaimer that if you don't resonate with what I say, please just switch off the channel.
I know.
My intention are to help humanity wake up and we're having these discussions, Mel, and this is really to give an alternative rhetoric to what the mainstream media is feeding you, and then to get you to critically think, go away. We're planting seeds, not necessarily waking up, because that time has gone, but we're planting seeds, and that's what's happening with your people. Now, it takes a lot of guts, and this is one of the things that I took from that video that we put up last week. At the start, that to stand tall in the face of adversity when everybody is against you, this is where you're learning who you really are, because we are having done all the research, aligning with our moral compass. And that's not saying that these people that are attacking us are bad. It's just that we can actually see that they've been frequency messed up.
Right.
The black screen, right? Or whatever.
Instead of being my natural self, which when I was younger would take it so personally. Yeah. Now I have more of a sense of, that's their choice. Yeah. They want to put that out there, I'll block them or whatever. But that's not anything to do with me, and I think because we both had experiences also. I was in Hollywood a very long time, which really feeds the insecurity and the self-abuse, self-loathing, mental, and that's through this journey, because like you said, I do get up and I think, I got to do a show. I don't feel like it, but I have stuff to share that might help people keep going and might help people in their own world argue their own, in a healthy way, their own stance and take a stand and say, no, this is what's going on. This is real.
Yeah.
And, I don't believe the fake news because I have these facts. Like I always say, arm yourselves with facts and truth, and no one can stop you.
Absolutely.
But,
and you
so
do
that's what we do.
You do that, and we're combining the sort of spiritual side and then the arming out yourself with facts. No one's out here to, you see, the other thing that got attacked is like, oh, these are, you're all like, it's no different to the MMS. You're all going in for this egotistical new wannabe media now. And I'm like,
what?
Like, get out of the cabal energy. This is just low vibrational.
Who cares? Why does anyone else care what anyone else is doing on that level? It's a complete, well, you know what? How sad for them that they're not looking at the opportunity in front of us, what is coming, the good that is coming, the freedom that is coming, and planning for it in their own lives.
Yeah. I'd rather live on that energy. I'd rather live in that energy where like, oh, wow. And in appreciation of, this really is a great time to be alive. I know we have to battle even our own inner wounds. When we get triggered by something, we have to think, okay, let's not put the blame outside. Let's see what's going on inside, and let's see why we're a little bit. And then once you're still, you kind of tend to be in non-judgment of things. And that's not you placating or you being like false flattery or anything like that. You just come from a place of really looking at that person from true love and authenticity. And thinking, wow, I can really see what Mel's about. She's offering this. Okay. I mean, there were so many questions that I had now in my head when I was listening to Rob and you earlier on about, Wall Street. And I do want to touch on that today briefly because it's magnificent. Everything that you said in that chat with Charlie.
Yeah.
There's so much that we can take. And the facts that you give us all are phenomenal. And what you remember, And it's so important for people to realize that, okay, what are you basing your knowledge or your opinion on? Is it the first 4 lines that you read in the front page of
Right. See, that's the problem. That's the problem.
It's the Washington Post or because it's the Financial Times, it gives you that pseudo kind of superiority that you think, well, I'm reading the Financial Times or I'm reading the Guardian or I'm reading the
Washington Post. Here too.
The people there are all telling the truth. How do you know that they're telling the truth? How?
Well, I mean, and if you look at facts versus the news, if you have that ability that you're not, see, a lot of these people are so brainwashed by the CIA controlled television, media, entertainment. It's all the Brzezinski. This all goes back to MK Ultra and all of that. And so many people are really stuck in that matrix that they don't even question what they're being told, even though with their own eyes or in their own lives, they're seeing it the opposite. They're not, it's cognitive dissonance, like beyond comprehension on a mass scale. Yeah. My only thing that I'm thinking, and I'm feeling it around, is I think that it's just been so brilliantly planned that there's so many red pills at one time. And if you do a little bit of research, you're going to be able to connect the dots back up the thing to the exact same people at the top of the food chain, the Davos, Bilderberg, World Economic Forum, Great Reset. We all have a common enemy. The enemy are the people that want to enslave humanity for their own benefit. And these are real people. They're easy to find. And that's what I try to put out there is do your own research because all these people are going to connect back to each other and connect through their different Privy Council or Council of Foreign Relations or Atlantic Council or one of these groups, Pilgrim Society, then Bilderberg. You're just going to realize that this is a very small group of people, probably around 3,000. That's how small that are literally controlling the masses with what they want for themselves, which is complete and total control over this planet and all people and society, and in a very nefarious, greedy, ugly way. And there's not, see, we've been told that they're the elite. No, and that we're really the majority. And I think that people so badly don't want to see that the level of corruption and evil, I mean, it is evil. And then you take it to the satanic level and then people are like, whoa. But there's just so much evidence that, we just have to keep putting it out there. People are connecting the dots. Yeah. And you know, and I really believe this because the biggest tell, honestly, is how in your face they're being about the Great Reset and the World Economic Forum and the Agenda 2030. When I started talking about this 2 years ago, nobody believed me that any of this is real. Now they're out there at Davos cheering it on. Kerry, who should be in prison a long time ago, he's out there saying that the Great Reset is going to happen way faster than they even thought, and how great this is, you know, and that Klaus Schwab needs to be in prison. And all these people, they're working for the Swiss Octagon group that controls all the banks. And you know what? We're at a point where they're putting out videos telling us that we'll own nothing and be happy about it. Yeah. You know, and
I think this is all optics, though. That definitely is optics,
because right, I agree. But yeah, it's so in your face that you can't
to show you what could have happened. Yeah, see, if we to go back to that Davos meeting back in 2016, I think it was, or 2017, where Trump, and there's this image of him where he was portrayed in the news of pushing past all the other dignitaries, alleged dignitaries there, and he's there, and he just pulls his suit up like that to say, listen, I'm the Don, yeah, I'm the boss. And it's filmed. This was on the news. And
right, I know.
And I remember seeing this. And he's got that stance about him. He just pushes past everyone. He doesn't even shake Angela Merkel's hand. And there's so many, like, these were so many, like,
tells, yeah.
Yeah, so many signs that now when we look back, that actually this was all taken care of back then. Yeah.
Right.
And everything that's happened because the NSA have it all. They have everything. So if the NSA have it all, how this plan is going to play out is what we're seeing now. And this is where the emotional roller coaster is happening. And the stock market. So let's talk about what's going on there.
Well, I think it's going to have to be also the people realizing that they don't have to consent to all this craziness.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep reminding people, like the Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, these they matter. They matter because the military, that's their code. When I was in DC, what the military said to us was, when we were asking like what their mission was or whatever, they assured us that they were there to protect the Constitution and the people, not the government. Yeah. And I believe that fully. And I believe that's what's going on. And at the same time, we've allowed also all kinds of tyranny. You guys are on crazy lockdown. We still are.
Masks.
And, you know, we didn't consent to this. They didn't ask if we wanted this because there's a pandemic. All of our rights go out the window. No. And it's going to be proven that it wasn't even about any kind of virus. It's always been about the vaccine. And, you know, I believe that's the next thing that's going to be exposed. And I believe that also, as you know, I've talked about it many times, a lot of people don't realize that Pompeo and the alliance countries already set up a current Nuremberg for crimes against humanity, which will include this entire COVID thing and the vaccines and all of that. So, you know, as far as Wall Street,
are getting them done here. Sorry to interject there. So many people are literally... This is what's becoming very painful here.
I know.
Fortunately, my parents are red-pilled, and that's from a lot of nagging.
Me too, thank God.
Yeah, and my mum
I'm one of the only people that's parents are elderly and not running to get it too.
Yeah, my dad calls Trump. He goes, it's so funny in his accent. He goes, Trump. He's solid. Man, he's a solid man. It's so cute, meaning like he's such a like G. But my mum, it took my mum a while, but she used her kind of common sense and said, look, I don't know. She doesn't follow me. She doesn't watch anything that I do. She's kind of like, I hear everything from you. And like, she's just whatever. She's just like chilled in her own world. But that doesn't mean she's not either here or there. But now when I asked her, Mum, why are you not taking the vaccine? She just said, look, I don't know what's in it. That common sense, yeah. Surely, they need to had done more research. Oh my god! And I was so proud. And my dad, on the other hand, needed to be like, you know, handheld a little bit more. And I said to him, Dad, please, this is it. And I kept bombarding him with information.
Right.
There are people here, Mel, that are literally in chat groups, and some of my woke friends are saying, I can't bear this, in the parents chat group saying, can't wait till the vaccine. Oh, you know, can't wait till it gets done, means freedom. And then we're going to go.
Right. That's why, though. That's why they're being told that if they take the vaccine, they'll get freedom. We already have freedom. We have freedom. Freedom is being obscured by these cabal members and these bankers trying to hold on to their power. But yeah, that's the hard part, I guess, right
Where are
now.
people going to say no and enough? I don't care what
But
you say,
also,
but
look
your
at what
freedom has been
happened.
lost.
Right. Look at the exposure just this week of the American Medical Association, Facebook, and the CDC coming out and saying hydroxychloroquine works.
Yes.
And it fends it off if taken early enough. And the opposite, first of all, you were banned from Facebook or YouTube if you said that it worked. All these doctors and scientists that were legitimately right have been demonized for 11 months. And all of this, and they were saying this works, which then you would never need a vaccine because a common drug that is used for malaria all over the world works for this too. And Dr. Fauci knew it since 1986. And now people are getting a vaccine that missed a lot of testing, has nanoparticles in it, though everyone wants to think that's too sci-fi. It's not. They have the patents.
Yeah.
It's all this. They have all these patents. And, there's a lot of information that what's in these vaccines does a lot to make you docile and compliant and all the things that I'm reading about.
It attacks the pineal gland and
right, exactly.
Empathy and compassion. So you're going to completely lose that side.
Right.
That much connection to your spirituality and God.
Yeah, exactly. And God. And what this is really about, again, why anyone would trust anything coming out of, I didn't realize till 2 days ago that the CDC is private, just like the Fed is private. The CDC is actually funded. Of course, there's Bill Gates money and Clinton Foundation money, but it's really funded by Big Pharma.
Absolutely.
So then you find out how many vaccines they recommend. I can't even believe how many vaccine patents they have. And then it's all the patents and the amount of money that vaccines generate. And then, then Gates has like Gavi and the National Institute of Health. And then you guys have all your things. And there's just so much money in this vaccine situation. And then this one is actually, they say that I'm starting to read it being called instead of COVID, Cove AI, which is really more what it is, because it's not actually a vaccine as much as it's a device basically being put in your body. Yeah. The Moderna and the Pfizer. Some people say the one in Russia is totally different, but then what happens this week? China now bans the Moderna and Pfizer vaccine, and they're pumping it into our people and your people. Who's in charge here? Yeah. Who's in charge here? And then don't forget
what's happening here. So China's refusing it. Look what happened right at the start. They got it. They got very well quickly, and they started this whole mask wearing business. But then, everything was all about these nano chips and whatever it was in the beginning. The same cycle's happening again.
Right.
So China is like quickly on the mend. And but now the rest of the world. So what is that telling us? What is that telling us? That China is controlling, or was controlling, so much in the world.
Right, right. And we also forgot that, that's another thing with these executive orders that Joe Biden's doing. He's letting China, like purposely and willingly, back into our energy grid and our military industrial complex in America. What? Why? I mean, that's why this Joe Biden show cannot possibly be real. And
what's happened in these 10 days, right? So what? 20th since his inauguration. And, if we just look at the whole inauguration, was just a load of nonsense. But there's been exposure at so many levels in every industry. So, what happened in Myanmar today?
Oh my God, exactly.
What's her name? Aung San Suu Kyi,
Right.
We thought she was a great activist. Now, I didn't know much about her, but I just had to skim through some of the information. This is all happening. And this is what we should be feeling confident about.
Right.
Because it's global exposure. It's not just happened in the US and the UK.
No,
we've seen this level. The cabal has had their, fingers in every institution, in every establishment, in every government. And they've wanted one world order.
People into the top ones.
Yeah.
And they guise it as NGOs and philanthropies and think tanks and all this. And it's really not. They're all for the same goal of enslaving us. And then that Myanmar thing, here's a couple things about it. You and I have done a lot of work on the international child trafficking ring and all of that. And basically, it turns out that George Soros and the Clinton Global Initiative have been very involved in Myanmar. Yes. The woman that they're saying see, what's going on now is that they're saying that they use the Dominion software in their election. So it's a mirror to what will happen here. Yeah. And then it's like, wait a minute, they use the Dominion software.
Executive order now of 2018.
I know. It starts today, I think. And then number two, then you realize, and you look them up, and you see all these pictures of George Soros' son, George Soros, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, who's for Malaysia, and Sotoro, holding hands with this woman that they say cheated and has been working with them all along. I read somebody from Malaysia in the Malaysian paper was saying that Hillary and this woman are like two peas in a pod. They've been friends for decades. So, you look at it like that, and then the CIA calls it the three islands with Miramar, the Golden Triangle. Well, what have they been doing there that the CIA calls it anything?
Yeah.
So the CIA to me is the worst of the worst of our three-letter agencies in terms of being actually against the American people and the rest of the world. They've done so much damage. But when I saw the CIA has a special name, and now Dominion's coming up there, and then the Soros.
All interconnected.
Oh my God, yeah. But it's odd that one small country is really kind of shining a light on what happened in our election, because it's the same players. It's always the same people. Yep. That is the craziest part about all of this. It always ends up being, well, it's the same bloodlines. You and I know that, but the masses haven't been exposed to the idea that these satanic, these Canaanite bloodlines are real. Yep. And that they are fighting for survival right now. And basically everything that they can do, though I think it's over, everything that they can do to stop it or slow it now with the mainstream media is basically their only tool left, that they're doing that. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of disclosure, especially because they're attacking these, back to the Wall Street GameStop, they're attacking these day traders, basically, that got together on a Reddit forum where they were sharing information for a long time. This is a huge forum. And then the platform that Robinhood and that they were all on, that's supposed to be for the little guy. And then they all got together, which is so great, because that's what it should be. It should be like the humanity getting together to do things like this, not some monolith banking cabal deciding and manipulating the market at will and against the people. The people are so anyway. So what happened was this triggered them to stop trading, which is unheard of. And then on top of that, then we're connecting now Janet Yellen, who used to run the Fed, which I believe is the biggest fraud on the American taxpayer that could ever be imagined, the Fed and the IRS. She is now Biden's head of the Treasury. Yes. It turns out that this same company paid her a fortune to speak, but now the veil's being lifted on the financial market, and she's going to lead back to the Fed, and it's going to be lifting the veil of, oh my God, they've been playing us the whole time, and Biden's putting all the same people back in there on purpose, and it's shining a light on these different hedge funds and these different banking cabals. Also, the SEC, he put Peter Strzok's wife in charge of the SEC, and then this happens. And it's just really going to unravel.
All exposing. This is all, bring it back to the simple thing. This is just exposing the stock market,
right?
What it was.
Because this isn't us. No. They're trying to lump it together and say that this is an extension of QAnon, or they're Trump supporters, or they're right-wing, alt-right, or they're domestic terrorists. These aren't that. These are day traders that decided during the pandemic, everyone's locked up at home, they like the stock market. That's really what it is. It's a ragtag grassroots group of people who like the stock market, but now they're being labeled like we were labeled, and they're starting to be like, what are they talking about? What does this even mean?
But look at what the media is doing, though. Again, so what's being shown here is the media that's being exposed for, again, do you know Tiana, bless her, and she did a interview with the Evening Standard. I haven't actually read it, but I just read her notes just before I came on with you, and she said, It was about QAnon and what it represents, and in its truth, from someone here who supports the movement. So she was like expressing her views that, look, it's actually just a movement and it's getting people to critically think. Yeah, nobody is QAnon. Yeah,
It's a research project. That's what I say.
Yeah, but it's been vilified in the press, and people are believing it to be really dangerous. Well, how is it dangerous where people just critically think? And they asked me to do this, and my immediate reaction was that the media is still not safe, even though it may be controlled by the White House. What we think this is why all this exposure has happened. Remember, I believe Trump has got everything under control, and it has to be done this way. So people have been given their roles within the media, within every establishment, to actually play the role to expose the corruption at every single level. And they've completely distorted what she said.
I'm sure I would never have done it, but everyone's got to make their own choices. But what I will say is that the reason that they demonize Q, actually, QAnon is a whole different thing. Q has nothing to do with Akun, 8chan, 4chan. The boards are what they are. The actual Q map is the most fascinating thing. I don't know if you've ever seen the actual map that was drawn out.
Yeah.
It is the most fascinating strategic document I've ever seen in my life. And what it is, and then the drops are just strategically placed. But all it is, honestly, it's like saying Facebook is a cult. Yeah. What it is it's a board. You can't write on it. I can't write on it. Nobody can. We don't know who's running it. We know that almost, I'd say 99% of what's been on there has been proven to be true.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if you remember, the Q map was my favorite. It went away, but the Q map had the people listed. It had questionable deaths, and it also had resignations, and it also had players. This is what they're scared of.
Yeah.
This is what the media is demonizing.
Yeah.
They don't want, and that was taken down, but they don't want people to see what's on the maps about them, because we know that a lot of these people are mentioned on that. Also, if you, on the original one, if you go to themes or anything, it's like an amazing book of knowledge. And I'll tell you right now, how many things did we learn just from that? So to me, it's like a military intelligence board for us to go research for ourselves. Nothing's being explained. And also a lot of it is very, very cryptic.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the brains to decode and all that, it's actually a thing for brilliant people.
Yeah.
I've been blown away by it so many times.
Yeah.
And you know what? They don't want people to go look at it.
Yeah.
They want people to think that's nonsense. That's nonsense. Anyone that I forced to go look at it and like just look down players or look down themes or look down, everything is explained so beautifully, so succinctly. It's military intelligence. And and so much has come true. A lot of these people don't realize that the Q map oftentimes would coincide with Trump's tweets.
Yep.
And would coincide with Scavino's tweets.
Yep.
And they would,
and everything, the comms and the times, there's divinity at play here, as well as
for sure,
the strategic military comms that we are so like fortunate to understand. I can't decipher them accurately, but I don't concern myself.
Yeah, but we have friends in our community that get it.
I mean, I just
everyone has something to offer.
Yeah, because even with I don't kind of attach myself to timelines, because I don't think Q hasn't been giving timelines. It's how us in the public have deciphered it. So it kind of amalgamates to assumptions, right? So first arrest will shock the world, but did it say when the first arrest will shock the world?
No.
It didn't. We got all a bit excited and thought that it was going to happen in the inauguration or at the inauguration. So there's so much that we can learn from these drops, but it's important that we stay centered in all of
it. And the thing is, the enemy is using it too. Don't think they're not using it too. They don't want anyone to go look at that. They don't want anyone to figure it out. So instead they demonize it, people don't even know where to find it, to tell you the truth. And there's what?
Did you keep a copy? Like, did you do a screenshot of the map?
Yeah, I have the original map on
I
my
think we should talk about that next week.
Yeah, okay, I'll send you it. You won't believe it. It's crazy. It's amazing. It's
We
everything.
can do a screen share on this.
Yeah.
And we can
Okay,
actually
cool. We'll do that. We'll do that. People don't realize whoever's behind this. They say 10 less than 10 people. No.
Yeah.
I've always thought it was
Well,
General
you'd have to
Flynn
be. Wouldn't,
and
yeah,
maybe
well, you'd have to be.
yeah.
You know, because on such a level for it to go to plan, that's why
Oh
this
my
is
God.
the plan. But for it to go to plan, do you really think there's going to be like hundreds and thousands of people that know? They're watching everything that we're doing. That we're going to have eyes on us and everything that we're doing, even if we're being taken off. Yeah.
Oh God, at this point, fine. I will show up again.
A story about censorship, about freedom of speech. So, well, what
Right.
we're saying that, you know, if you mention Trump's name now, it becomes dangerous.
Right. Oh my God. Look, we're not even allowed to question an election that we saw with our own eyes. There was fraud, or you're a domestic terrorist. They put a guy in jail for a meme he sent in 2016. That similar memes were sent in against Trump in the last election. I mean, if they can't even make it up, nobody got arrested really for Black Lives Matter, and there were tons of murders and burning down and looting, but then this faux siege, this orchestrated phony event on the 6th. They've arrested a whole bunch of patriots who went in because the Capitol Police let them in. Yeah. You know, does that matter? So it's just like one after another, and yeah, we'll do that with the map. Most people probably don't know that there's an actual physical drawn out map that is fascinating. And we'll definitely, our next show, we'll do that, or we'll do one in the middle.
And just on a parting note, Mel, thanks for everything. You know, you're just amazing. Seriously, you're just so amazing with everything that you do. And I think all of us are so lucky in this community to.
Oh my God, yeah.
Be able to, like, you know, withstand this crap that gets.
I know, but honestly, if I didn't have you and Charlie and a couple other of a handful of people, I might have given up. But it's like, I see you go up and do one and I'm like, I got to do it.
No, even, you know, when you were saying, like, you know, I said no, because I know we couldn't do it on Friday, but always trust the divine timing. That
exactly.
Going to happen, and we are protected because we are, when we look at our intention of why we're doing this. I mean, did I wake up, or did you wake up to get egg thrown on your face and just be like, you know, hated by the people? Like, really? You know,
I've had enough in my life.
When I grow up, I want to do this, you know.
Right.
But,
well, we've both talked about it. We've had enough in our life before this.
I know. I didn't need to do
I didn't want to invite more.
All right, my darling. Well, look, people enjoy our shows. Till next week.
Yeah. Or we can do Friday if you want. Yes, whatever you want to do. We can get back on our schedule. Whatever works for you works for me.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you.